Yeah, this is the saddest song I think I've ever
This is
written.
the saddest song we've ever heard, actually.
Yeah.
Y'all wrote a sad song
Yeah.
today.
Well, he was very sad today because he knew that you hadn't listened to his songs and you hadn't replied to him, so he was
My
like,
tooth hurts so bad today.
yeah, what a great song to write when you have toothache.
I couldn't focus half the time.
But you were great.
It's like,
Why do you always have dental problems? Don't you brush your teeth?
bro, you don't understand.
Have you seen the size of the fucking bag of candy he's got right now? That probably tells you exactly why he's got dental issues.
The reason I have this, and
the
we know
multiple
this, is
cans
because
of Coca-Cola.
we had no trick or treaters because it was raining.
Oh.
Right?
Cry me a river. I went out in the rain with my kids with ponchos and umbrellas.
Yeah, I forgot the melody.
Hey, before we start, I have a special gift for you.
What?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Now let me hear you say, way-ho. I say boom, boom, boom. Now everybody say, way-ho.
That's awesome.
I say,
Pat it
boom,
in,
boom,
baby.
boom. Now let me hear
Who
you
is
say,
this?
way-ho.
Way-ho.
Who's doing that?
It's this girl. She was on Vine. It was a huge Vine thing.
Yeah.
And it's just this really skinny, nerdy white girl, and she was just videoing herself do that, and she was
does that
so
for like
bad.
3 minutes straight.
Yeah, dude.
I can't believe my girlfriend went fucking viral on Vine.
She did.
Some skinny,
Oh, is that
nerdy white
her?
girl.
Yeah.
That's my Mrs. T.
But we had 3 trick-or-treaters, and we bought $8,000 worth of candy. And it sat there, and I would just go by it and pick a sucker out, take Jenna a sucker, or, 100-gram bar, which is the greatest candy bar of all time.
I had one of the small ones.
I've never had
Yeah.
it.
I don't think I've had it. It was good.
The 100-gram bars,
Yeah, it's
they're
good.
amazing. If you put them in the freezer, they will break your teeth off, but they are amazing
worth
in the
it?
freezer. Yeah.
Hence
but
the tooth problem?
we were like, we got to get rid of this candy.
How much? $300 did you buy?
It's like $100 worth of candy.
Fucking
Dude,
hell.
we go to
Yeah.
Costco when we buy the large candy bars, the full size,
We have those too. Well, I give those to just the really good kids.
and we buy toys for kids who can't have chocolate or candy.
Hey, that's when you know that
God, if you
We're one of
can't
those.
have chocolate,
Hey,
don't go trick or treating.
Curb's looking after you. In a time of inflation, you're going out and buying toys and candy. You're doing all right.
Yeah, you know, right?
Us struggling musicians that you can't even
Well,
listen to our records.
My wife has a real job. She makes a lot more money than I do.
See, that's what
Yeah.
we do. We
You
get
gotta have those rich,
Yeah.
those what do you call them?
sugar mamas.
Sugar mamas.
Yeah,
That's what I think I need. Well, here's it. Yeah,
I'm like a
I have. Let's just say
Pause.
I don't ever have to.
Reflection.
This isn't live yet, is it?
yeah.
Oh,
we
we're
can
live.
we can edit whatever.
But if,
All right.
if you want to share something,
We
that
always do
the
it
rest of
on
the
the
class
call.
doesn't want to hear.
I'm not gonna go there because I know it's not right of me to go there.
It's
All
not
right.
right of me to go there.
Yeah, didn't go there, pal. You
Hey,
didn't go
lad.
there. So this is. I need to know more about this. How did this start? How did you two get in a room and start talking absolute shit?
You're not interviewing us.
Well,
I know, but I'm
well, man,
curious.
it started like around 20 years ago when we would just go to the bar every day after a ride or work, and we'd sit around and shoot the shit, and then I remember I had the idea for this a long time ago, like right when podcasts were first coming out. I didn't think of it as a podcast, but I remember it was like me and Brian Davis or me and Kyle Jacobs. We would always sit around and be like, man, what did we say yesterday that was so funny? Like, I don't know, I was too drunk to remember.
Yeah.
It's like we got to start recording
Yeah.
these things, and then we can go back and remember all the funny shit we said.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Colt called me one day, and because our buddy Kyle Jacobs, who passed away last year, one of our best friends, but he and Colt were going to do this.
Yeah.
And then Colt and Kyle passed, and Colt called me and goes, "Hey, man, would you want to do a podcast?" And I was like, I huh?
Well, yeah, well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
how
in my
what
mind,
do you do?
this was supposed to be with Kyle, and so when he died, dude, I literally just scrapped the idea. I crumbled it up,
Yeah.
threw it away. And I was like, well, it just wasn't meant to be. And then I didn't think anything of it any more than like 6 months goes by, and I'm watching David at the listening room.
At the listening room.
and
That's what we're just talking about.
Yeah.
and like I've known David for 20 years and all that, and I've always known he's a funny guy, he's charismatic, great on stage. And then he was just being himself on there, and then for some weird reason, just out of nowhere, the podcast idea came out. I was like, man, David would be really good at that.
I would slay it.
And I thought about
Absolutely.
it.
I'm amazing.
I thought about it for like 2 weeks, and then
On a
2 weeks
Tuesday.
went by, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to ask David and just see what he says. And like, without even asking what the podcast was
Yeah.
about or anything, he was just like, yeah, I'm in. Because
think
I
that's
literally
great.
texted him, I was like,
It's
hey, do
okay.
you want to be on a podcast? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, do you want to know what it's about?
I think that's great. I think the podcasts are the future as well, man. I think that they've done so well in society, and I think that people, they're so good to listen to because it's not just video bullshit that you're looking at.
Well, I think they
24/7.
definitely made a huge impact in just the presidential election we had yesterday.
For me. It's very therapeutic for me because I could just say what I want to on here
100%.
about Nashville traffic and not
therapy.
care.
Yeah.
Fuck Nashville traffic.
It's
dude.
so fucking bad, man.
I'm so terrible. I hate it.
It's awful.
Well, you just told me today you don't even have a car. What are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing, right? So my missus and I, we share a car, but she is teaching. She just passed to be a spin instructor, and she's doing a lot of shit. Well, hopefully not a lot of shit.
I
But
like
she's
spinning.
I went last night, mate. It was tough.
Did you?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough shift.
Oh, I
These
don't
people
like
that can
riding
do
a
it.
bike. I like watching them spin.
Oh, I see
David
what you
sits
mean.
in the back of the room.
Yeah.
No, I was on it. I went and I did the shift.
It's like I didn't get the Peloton bike. I just got the videos, and I would just watch the videos.
Here's a question:
Yeah.
How many people do you think in America have bought a Peloton bike and never used it?
4 billion.
My God, my mate.
30%.
You know Kevin Bard, who's a writer in this town?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my closest mates. He lives out in California with his missus. And his missus was, she's wonderful. And she was like, I really want a Peloton. I really want a Peloton. And Kev's like, you're not going to use it. She's like, I'm really going to use it. Like, the Peloton's the future. Like, I don't have to go to the gym. I can do it from the spare room. And he's like, you're not going to use it. Eventually, he caves in, gets the Peloton, used it once.
This is my wife.
Used it
My
once.
wife.
Yeah.
I've bought her treadmills, everything. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Crickets just becomes another thing to lay laundry on.
Do you know what I think, though? I think that, like, this certainly isn't going to be a fitness discussion, but I think that having somewhere to go to be active, like, I think if I had a bike in my house, I would never use it.
100%,
I would never use
dude.
it. Like, I have to either go out and walk, or I have to be like, I am forcing myself to go to the gym because when I push myself to do it.
Yeah.
Because when I'm there, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm here now. I might as well do it.
Yeah, like I want to drive, 15 minutes from my house, get out of the car, go in and get mad at people because they're on my machines.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I want to do. Dude, I put my stuff yesterday at the gym. I like always walk in, I'll put my water and my towels on a machine and like go use the bathroom. I came back and there's a dude moving my shit around.
No savesies, bro.
And
No
there's
savesies.
And I walk up and I'm just standing looking. He goes, "Oh, is this your stuff?"
you're like, "Yes."
I'm like,
Oh,
"Yeah." And he goes,
yeah.
"Man, I thought somebody just left their water bottle and their towels and my shit
Please
there too."
please tell me he got off.
He got off.
Good.
Well,
But
he's smaller than me.
But dude, I think that if I was, that's fair. But I think if I was at home and I had a Peloton, like, you're just talking about 100 grand,
Yeah.
the chocolate bars,
It's a
right?
great bar.
I've never had it, but let's just say I have 100 grands in my cupboard.
I don't know how much
And
it
I've
is.
got the Peloton.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I've got 100 mini 100 grands. So
Yeah.
there's 100 chocolate bars.
That's
and I've
like
got a
a
Peloton
million.
in the
Yeah.
next room. And I'm breaking a sweat 5 minutes in, and all that's on my mind is that bag at 100 grand.
Yeah, dude.
I am stopping the bike immediately,
Yeah.
and I'm walking through, and I'm going, fuck, I need to see what's on TV. Oh, there's a new episode of The Penguin on
Yeah.
HBO right now, which is fire on Max. I'm going to watch, because
Do you like the villain origin stories?
from like you mean those types
Like
of
the
like,
Joker and like the Penguin?
I do. I think that where things changed for me is when I watched the Batman when Heath Ledger played the Joker.
That was fabulous.
I think that was the best.
Did he win an Oscar for that? Because if
Yes.
he didn't, it's a travesty.
But he won it when he
Posthumously.
died. Yeah,
What?
posthumously.
yeah, he won it after he died.
Whatever that word is.
Posthumously.
Posthumously. Yeah, that post Malonishly.
I speak English real good.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the best acting performances ever.
Oh no, he took those types of movies to the
But
next
it killed
level.
him. It killed him. It's so sad it killed him. He's a method actor. So
Yeah.
it's like if you've seen the Elvis movie, Austin Butler was talking like Elvis for months. I don't even know. It could even have been a year. He talks about it, so I don't fact check me on that.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
really known
Yeah,
for that.
a
Yeah.
lot of those guys.
Like
So-
I heard when he played Lincoln, like you had to refer to him as Mr. Lincoln or President Lincoln, all like
Wow.
while they weren't even
Well,
filming.
Yeah.
But that was the same as Heath Ledger, and it's the same as Christian Bale does it, and so does Joaquin Phoenix, who played the Joker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've not seen the new Joker, but the first one I saw, I thought was really impressive.
The
But I feel
reviews
like
on the new one are so bad that I probably won't watch it.
yeah, I think though as well, like it's like I feel like
You'll totally watch
acting.
it.
No.
Acting to me is much like music, and in a sense that this is where I'm leading with this.
Are you
Go ahead.
weaving like Donald
Music.
Trump?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the
Easy
greatest thing
now.
you've ever done. Back in the 70s,
Ride the weave.
yeah, back in the 70s, the 80s, like music and how music moved, right? So, like, I'm just talking about British music for a second, but like The Clash and The Jam and Queen and like all these incredible bands that were innovators. I feel like that was the same in acting. Like when you go back to the early days of Casino and The Godfather, and you got
So
like
good movies.
Joe Pesci, and you've got
Goodfellas.
like exactly,
Yeah.
man. You've got these like Pacino, like playing these like acting, like all these actors now that love on screen DiCaprio and all that learned from
Yeah.
these guys. These guys were like innovators in acting, and I feel like nowadays it's hard to come by someone that's so insane. But I think Heath Ledger did that in the Joker, in Batman. But back in the day, man, you watch Goodfellas, Pesci, and like all that were just some of my favorite movies of all time.
Heath Ledger did the Joker he did like Joker like it should have been done. Smart. I can outthink the Dark Knight,
like a real crazy person
of the Dark Knight. It wasn't like a over the top, you know.
Yeah, not a tongue in cheek kind of thing. No. It was
this
very
guy
like
was
real.
He was fucking nuts, but he was crazy smart too.
So smart,
and like he had an agenda, and it was to watch the world burn.
Literally,
it was chaos.
Yeah.
And that was the Joker in the comic books.
And then obviously Batman there to save the day. But I think it's crazy, man. Like I think that I was actually having this conversation with my wife the other day. We were talking about, music, and I've seen a lot recently people shitting on music right now. They're like, what's happened to music? What's happened to this? What's happened to that? And I think personally, there's a lot of great music out there right now. I think we're on the cusp of this movement. Like when we met, and I played you some of the music I've been working on, which is very like 80s and stuff like that. I feel like we're on the cusp of that again. And I think that we're, as culture and a society, we get to a place with music where we go, right, okay, we've had enough of this. And I feel like we're about to have the turn of real instruments coming back. I feel like we're about to have the turn of music coming back, like Queen back in the day with tempo changes and key changes and real instruments. And I think that music is about to enter a new phase.
Yeah.
And not always pandering to radio.
Correct. Yeah. Because that's what I said to someone the other day. I was like, do you really think that when Queen wrote Bohemian Rhapsody, if you've seen the movie, do you think Freddie Mercury was like, can't wait to make this for 109.7 The River? Did he? Fuck, he was like, I'm writing what I think is art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really crazy. And I'm going to ask you both a question here. So there was a really clever interview the other day I watched with this guy called Matty Healy, who's the lead singer of the 1975. And he said that if you think back to, and let your brains go there right now, like to the 70s, to the 80s, to the 90s, you can see bands, artists, fashion style that shaped those years. Like if I said to you like 1984, you could probably pluck an artist or an image in your head. There was sounds of those eras, but if I was like, what was the sound of 2009?
Oh yeah,
dude. What is it?
90s was grunge for me.
Yeah,
yep.
Nirvana.
Grunge.
Yeah. 70s was what, the punk era?
Yeah,
in London?
80s too.
Yes,
yeah.
70s, 80s, but the 70s were disco.
Guitars in the 80s. You had the synthesizer sounds of the 80s.
Yes.
The 90s was complete grunge for me.
But the world was in an amazing place in the 90s.
Everybody was wearing flannel.
And here's the thing. America had Nirvana and the UK had Oasis. What a great time for me.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, early 90s. Early
Third Eye
mid-90s.
Blind.
God.
I think I saw an article, it was like 1994, some magazine article listed all the albums that were released
Stone Temple Pilots.
in the same year.
Yes.
And it was literally like every major amazing album that came out in the 90s was all like 1994.
And I think there's still good music, but it's just it's so saturated with other stuff. And like you said, there's so much good stuff out there. You just kind of have to look harder to find it now.
And I think as well what's happened with this generation of social media and having music being accessible, why I think music, because not all music is in a bad place. Yeah. I think that music that's on the popular mediums that we look at these days, like TikTok and Instagram, what we're seeing a lot is because music has become a lot more accessible, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone can go and buy a Focusrite and they can get a GarageBand or a Logic, they can purchase Logic and they can make a beat with their buddies and they can put it out, right? Yep. And if you've got someone on TikTok who's who's become an influencer, quote unquote, who's never really done music, who never grew up loving music and worshiping music, and then going, hey, I've got 3 million people on my TikTok, well, I'm going to monetize this, going to make a song. Well, that song becomes in the charts because as someone who's been on radio tours, who speaks to the DSPs regularly, they're like, what's your TikTok numbers? Yeah. What's your Instagram numbers? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to outperform someone at this stage of my life that has but that has someone that
That's
has like,
how you feel as an artist. You're like, oh,
well,
what about the music,
4 million,
man?
Yeah. This person has 4 million TikTok views, is talking about, his Mustang with fucking, I don't know, a jet coming out the back. And you're like, how does this...
I have set, I'm not going to name names because it's not, the kid is a wonderful kid and I love him.
Yeah.
but I got booked on a write with this guy one day, and then another guy, I was a younger kid, and I walk in and talking for a little while, and I'm like, I was like, man, how long have you been doing this? He goes, about 6 months. I'm like, really?
Wow.
And he's got a record deal, and I'm like, how did you get a record? He's like, I blew up on TikTok, and I got called one day, and they offered me a record deal. I was like, have you ever played a guitar before? He's like, I don't own a guitar.
What?
Like, what?
I know.
How did you not like strangle that kid?
It was so shocking to me, and he was such a sweet kid, and it just baffles me.
But I think that what I understand why so many artists now they've given up, which is, and it's horrible for artists that I've seen some of the most talented people that just haven't been able to make it through this rough patch. And I think this is a patch. I don't think this is something that's going to last forever. And I certainly will never give up. I love music so much. But I think that we live in a world right now where, anyone can be a musician, anyone can play music. And I think that it's wonderful to have that, but I do think at the same time, back in the day, like when you watch the Springsteen doc, I love Bruce Springsteen. I think Springsteen to me is if you were to look at the word singer songwriter, I just think that's Springsteen's lane. Like I think he's the king of singer songwriter in my opinion. Bob Dylan's
Henry Rollins does not think that way.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him. He's like,
he hated Springsteen.
I just think Springsteen's just so good at that. But if you go back to the days of like listening to Springsteen's documentaries, it was, the reason he got his deal is because he was really good. He would go out in a van with the boys. They play all the time. They play. They got a couple of great songs. Record labels went, wow, this is really good. We see you out there busting your ass. Now it's like, a song went viral on TikTok. We have no idea who your demographic is, what audience likes this. We're going to throw $2 million at you and sign you. And then labels go, oh yeah, we put a single out on this new guy after we just signed him, and it didn't work. Yeah. I'm like, what do you, you're going off an application that is fed to random folk every time you post.
Let's build on an algorithm.
Yeah.
Welcome to Twangtown. I am David Tolliver.
And I am Colt Mirsky.
That was pretty low.
Bruisey.
That was real low. And today we have with us Jordan Harvey.
Yeah. Fresh off the plane from Scotland.
Oh, back from the motherland.
Back from the motherland.
I wish I'd gone to Scotland. I want to make it a trip, though. Like
you should.
We went to Ireland and England, but we did not make it to Scotland. And Ireland and England are just fabulous fucking places.
Yes, they are.
So I can't imagine how good Scotland is.
I will tell you, a lot of people in America, obviously London, I mean, you got to go to London. And Ireland's cool, but I just think that Scotland, it's just such a magical place. And what breaks my heart, and actually, I'm about to actually contradict myself here with what I'm just about to say. What breaks my heart is that for the longest time in all my life, why I left Scotland and moved to Nashville was because I wanted to make a living playing and making music, right? Yeah. That was non-attainable in Scotland.
Really?
Nah, man. Like, it wasn't attainable. There isn't good live music scene.
Because it's not the infrastructure there, right?
Not the infrastructure there. And then London's so expensive, but like, gone are the days back in the day when you could work in a coffee shop or you could work in the newsagents 5 days a week and have enough money to pay your rent and then be creative with art. That's died. That's gone. Right?
It's just so expensive now.
It's so expensive. You got to be working in a solid 9 to 5 if you want to pay your rent. But in this town, you can be a writer, you can create music, you can get out and play shows, and you can pay your rent. So that was the main reason. However, why I said I was going to contradict myself is with the power of TikTok now and the power of platforms like a Patreon where you can have people sign up to your platform.
Yep.
There is probably the chance now if you can build that audience.
Would
but
you
there's
go
no
back,
guarantee.
Sam?
Would you move back, though?
I would, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would, man, because one thing I love America and I love Nashville. But one thing I really miss is that it's very rare that you meet people, and it does happen, because like when we met, the three of us could go for a pint and have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't often meet those types of people. Whereas in Scotland, every second person you meet, you go, I could go to the pub with them.
Yeah.
And you meet them in the pub. We still have the 5 o'clock, like it's usually 4 o'clock now, but it used to be back in the day, my grandma, my granddad, my mum, my dad, working class. Edinburgh's a very working class city. Very working class city. You finish your work at 5 o'clock, you're in the pub, 5 to 7 before you come home for your dinner.
Yeah.
And you go and you meet pals, and it's no phones, and it's just conversation. And that still happens in Edinburgh. You go to any establishment, you go out for dinner, or you go to a pub here, or a dive bar, everyone's on their fucking phone, man.
Yeah.
They're on a date, and I'm like, your missus is sitting right in front of you, and you're on fucking TikTok. Like, what has happened to us?
Yeah, I see it. I go out. I used to go meet friends, one friend in particular, and he'd be like, "Hey, meet me here." I'm like, "Cool." We go there, and he would just be on his phone constantly playing games or just just looking at stuff, and I'd be talking to him, and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna head out, man. Where are you going?" I'm like, "Well, I'm fucking leaving."
Yep. 100, because this is fucking shit.
I can do this at the house.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and watch you look at your phone.
I'm not going to sit here awkwardly and stare out into space.
But bro, like, and I think as well, with mental health in society now, and unfortunately, and it's really sad that a lot of people obviously deal with mental health, but there is a group. I would love a study on certain individuals. There's people that have past traumas and all that, and that's awful. But people that go like, "Oh, I've got really bad anxiety," or "I feel like I'm depressed," I'm like, okay, let's look at your lifestyle. So you eat 5,000 calories a day of fried foods. You drink 10 cups of coffee. You sit on TikTok for 3 hours a day. You don't do any exercise whatsoever, and you sit and play Warzone at night.
Yep.
No wonder you've got anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, if I'm
you need
feeling,
to get outside, move your body.
Yeah, I'm creative. We're all creatives in this room. I deal with anxiety. I deal with depression. But when I feel like that, I maybe cut back on drinking 50 pints a week.
Yeah.
I eat some greens. I go for walks.
You told me, how many pints did you used to drink in a sitting?
I could easily drink 10 to 12 pints.
10 to 12 pints.
I mean, I drank 7 on Friday night.
How many ounces are in a pint?
16 ounces.
No, yeah, that's right, yeah.
I'm very smart.
Yeah, 16. So I was drinking sometimes on a Saturday when I'd go to football with the boys.
And Jordan, you probably weigh like 150 soaking wet.
157, yeah. I would be.
He was weighing 170.
Yeah. I was 171.
Yeah.
I would drink 5. So if it's roughly, again, don't fact check me on this. It's roughly about 500. Let's just say 550 milliliters a pint. I was drinking 5,500 milliliters of beer on a Saturday.
I mean, I don't know what that is because I don't do metric system, but it sounds like a lot.
We don't.
Let me.
We don't do the king stuff over here.
Let me educate you very quickly.
We don't do the king's math.
And I'll keep this very short. My football team in Edinburgh is a team called Heart of Midlothian Football Club. And when I was at university,
proper football though,
the best.
Yeah,
the real deal.
Footy.
Yeah. We used to go up. The kick-off would be 3:00 in the afternoon in Edinburgh. And I'd be a student at the time, and I was living with my ex-missus in Edinburgh, so it was brilliant. She had a gaff in the city, which is a flat, an apartment.
I don't know anything you just said.
Yes, so no one will, to be honest.
It's getting real foreign up in here.
So I'd wake up in the morning.
I love it, though.
I'd go for breakfast. I'd meet the boys in the Boozer, the pub, at probably about 11 o'clock, right?
I fucking love you.
I'd got all my clobber on and that, my clothes. And that's when I'd do in 10 pints, right? So between 11 and 3.
Can you imagine trying to understand him after 10 pints?
So,
You turn into Sylvester Stallone.
I was drinking 2.
Sylvester Stallone was Scottish.
Yeah, I was drinking like 2.5 pints an hour before the game.
Jesus.
So I then go to the game, but you can't drink at the game, right? So you'd kind of
Really?
like.
But you're drinking like Guinness too, right? Like,
Nah, Tennant's lager, just pure just lager.
what's the alcohol content on that?
4%, so it's
Okay.
not crazy, but like you're
Not
still
crazy, but
you're still
if
pretty
you-
hot
that's
stuff.
a
at it.
Budweiser.
After a pint of that, that's still...
Try 10, mate, right?
That's
and
a
then,
Coors Light.
I mean, Scotland's so cold as well, so you're warm. You go to the game, you've got 2 hours is roughly how long the game lasts with half time. You kind of sober up a little bit. You get our pies are like pastry filled with like beef and mince and that. So you have a quick pie, and then you leave and you go back to the pub, right? You have a couple of pints after the pub. So you're at 12 pints now, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to the ex-missus house, have a shower, put on my Sunday beds. So I'd have my shirt, my trousers, and I'd go up the town, and I'm going to nightclubs, I'm going to fucking cocktail bars. So that's when I'd hit the vodkas. So like sometimes on a
You
Saturday,
switched over then.
Oh, that's when you switched.
Yeah.
I'd have 12 pints at the football, and then I'd probably go out and tank 6 to 7 vodkas at night. That's a Saturday.
Strong like bull, man.
Yeah, excess on occasion is exhilarating.
You don't need Viagra when you live in Scotland, I'll tell you.
God, we used to do that. I mean, there's been times where we would do that after work.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, no,
Hit the
for
roof,
sure.
hit the doghouse, hit losers.
Can we call this a job?
I don't know.
I question that all the time.
So you are from Scotland?
Yes.
You were born and raised in Scotland, in
was,
Edinburgh.
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 Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Are you from Edinburgh? It's like, shut up.
Do you know William Wallace?
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you seen Braveheart?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck off.
How long? What did you grow up over there? What did you grow up doing?
So I grew up in a little house on the outskirts of Scotland, mum and dad, and I grew up playing football. That's all I wanted to do was play football.
That we would call soccer.
You call soccer, yeah. I wanted to play football, and then, my cousin passed when I would have been, I want to say 12 or 13, and he was a drummer.
Yeah.
And I kind of always thought the drums were cool. And right before he passed, I'd actually got a drum kit, and he taught me a couple of times. I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like, I love drums. And then when he passed, I was like, all right, cool. I'd kind of come to the realization, like, I think it's pretty much like your football over here. When you're about 15, 16, you kind of know if you're going in a direction where you could probably do this professionally, right?
Yeah,
sure.
And I was at that point where I was like, yeah, I'm good, but there's no way I'm ever going to be good enough to play professionally. It's just not going to happen. So let's do something that I think I could make a living from. And it was music. So I got into bands and that, started playing drums, moved to London when I was 18, went to college down there, did some stuff.
What did you study in college? Was it music?
I studied drums, mate. I went to a drum course. Yeah.
Wow.
Drums and popular music. And then left London, came back up to Scotland, joined a band, signed my first indie deal, toured the UK and Europe in this band. Some of the best memories of my life.
What was the band called?
The OK Social Club.
The OK Social Club.
Mate, they were banging, by the way.
Yeah.
The band was
How many
unreal.
members you have?
Say again?
How
Four
many
of us.
members?
Just four of us, mate.
of you?
Rock and roll, mate.
And you were playing drums?
Playing drums, mate.
Were you singing too, or were you
No.
just playing drums?
Just drums. And kind of funny, actually, that I feel like I've modelled a lot of my... The band was very, like, we all had a very weird relationship with one another. The lead singer and I had this very bizarre relationship in the sense that we both really respected each other,
Yeah.
but we didn't quite see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I think that kind of like clouded our friendship. The guitarist was a prick.
I mean, that's basically any band ever, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even a duo, even my duo. I respect Chad, but sometimes we haven't had any arguments, but sometimes we just don't see eye on eye to things. But
Yeah.
we come to an agreement eventually.
Yeah, and I think that
Maybe.
like the guitar player was a prick, bass player was such a legend, like But and what happened was like, I like, as much as he frustrated me, the lead singer, his name was Raf. I'm happy to say his name. I idolized him because he was still to this day probably the most talented fucker I've ever been on a stage.
Yeah.
The melodies, the voice, the guitar playing, like he was the guy that, like, you'll know this, Colt, from obviously being a publisher and obviously being a writer as well, and yourself, David. It's like sometimes like just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Best way to do it, right? Some of the best songs,
absolutely.
some of the best songs in the world, simple songs, right? But just unbelievable. Like I still haven't found what I'm looking for. You too.
Yeah.
Not a rocket science lyric.
Right.
One of the best
Do
songs.
you consider U2 one of the greatest bands of all time?
Definitely. I think
I do.
Yeah, and
I have a friend of mine that argues with me on this.
yeah. Why?
He was like,
they deaf?
fuck no, they're not. And he's a big music guy.
Right.
And I'm like, U2 is one of the greatest bands of all time. He goes, I don't agree with that. I'm like, why?
I mean, for a start, I don't think we'd have
I
tap
was
delay
never
guitars.
a big fan of them, but I do respect them in the sense that I know that they were really, really good. I just never got into them. At the time, they were really popular.
You're dumb.
But going
So
back,
I get that.
Going back, I do appreciate their music. It's kind of like, what's his face? Dave Matthews, same thing. I think he's really
That's
talented.
laundry
And
fold
he's
music.
great.
Yeah.
One song.
But like,
Yeah, true.
when I was in college,
song.
Dave Matthews and
Yeah.
U2 were both uber popular, but at that time, they just weren't popular for me.
You got to remember as well, though, like U2 over Dave Matthews, right? Here's why there's such a big difference. Dave Matthews is so uncool, right? You know what I mean? If you saw him at like your best pal's granddad's birthday, you'd be like, "Oh, it's John!
Yeah,
Oh,
he's-
it's John's
he's
here,"
a very
you know?
nerdy guy, yeah.
Whereas like Bono, man, like,
Yeah.
come on, with the shades.
Bono.
Well, he's
You've
a
got-
rock star.
You've got
Yeah.
you've got the Edge doing all that tap delay shit.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that they were like they were so influential coming out of Ireland as well? Like that voice and the whole persona they had about them.
Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
I mean, the lyrics, man. You know,
They had some
do you know-
great songs.
But do you know what Dave Matthews does that pisses me the
One
fuck off? Is it
dances.
right? Is it well? Yeah,
That
weirdly,
dance he does?
Yeah, but he also just like his lyrics don't make any sense, right? Whereas like the thing about Bono that I love about Bono is like he's got that rock and rollness to him where it's like I don't give a fuck. I'm going to write about very like topics that people wouldn't necessarily talk about. I'm putting them in a pop song.
Oh, he's writing about real shit.
And they're going to be front and center of
Yeah.
right in front of you. And I'm like, the fucking balls on the guy.
yeah, dude.
Balls on the guy. The guy's like 5'6" and he walks
Yeah.
around like he's 7'8". You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, if it was him and Shaq, like I'd fucking pick Bono.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Any day. Like,
Yeah.
Because he's going to come out swinging.
Yeah.
So I think that U2 are one of the best bands Because even if you listen to Coldplay now, who definitely one of the best bands of all time. I mean, Chris
They're
Martin,
great.
genius, right?
I got one song in Coldplay too. I'm sorry.
Tap delay all over it.
Yeah.
It's edge sounds all over their music.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
heavily influenced.
Heavily influenced.
I love the meme though. It's Dave Matthews, like when he's dancing. It's like Dave Matthews has no song that he plays that he needs to dance like this.
No,
I think I've seen that.
It's just,
could you imagine him dancing
doing
to
that
Rapunzel?
weird thing.
Like that gives me fucking anxiety. You know,
My old tour manager was a huge Dave Matthews fan.
Yeah,
so he got
clearly
the
a
Dave
virgin.
Matthews. He got the Dave Matthews like logo tattooed on his
No.
back, and he
Stop it.
finally had to cover it up.
Did he
that's
really?
when you know you've got a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
You know, you get Dave Matthews' face on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh,
fuck it
shit. So you played around in your band.
Yeah,
went
man.
to school in London.
Let's go to London.
Yeah, how long did you do the touring over there for?
Oh man, I did it up until because I went back to Edinburgh. That's where the social club was. Was born, and I went to uni at the same time. I went and did a degree in popular music because my mum was like, "You got to fucking do something." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I'll just do a popular music degree, right?"
Yeah.
Because I kind of got English with it too. So every mum wants their child to get an education, and my brother is extremely smart. My brother is now a lecturer at King's College in London.
Oh,
Is a
okay.
PhD graduate from Cambridge University.
Wow.
Is
He's a smart guy.
an A-lister from Edinburgh University, and we came from a very public. We were never going to private school, and we were very public. My brother was the first person in our whole family to go to university. So yeah, we had different paths. That's why my mum was like, you know, I want you to go to uni and that. So did that social club, end uni, sitting on the edge of my bed, was making probably like $50 to $100 a week. Nah, maybe more, $50 to $150 a week at this time. And this was like 9 years ago, maybe about $150 a week, and I was playing in pubs a few nights a week.
Yeah.
Finished uni, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Yeah. So I got it on the sauce. It was a 12-pinter. It was a 7 vodka Saturday
Yeah.
night, and a guy that I know who owns a recording studio in Edinburgh calls me and goes, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm in my bed." And he's like, "The BBC's here, and they're auditioning people for a television show. There was meant to be like, I don't know, 20 people show up for an audition. 2 people showed up.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
like,
shit.
"You get your arse here now in audition." I was like,
Yeah.
"Mate, I've got 5 strings on my acoustic guitar and I've got a headache that feels like hell." He's like, "Just get your fucking..." And I had to drive 25 minutes to the studio. So I'm like, "Right, I'll do it."
So you're going to do this as a solo guy?
So I jump. I don't even know what I'm doing at the time. I'm still drunk the night before.
Well, my question was, you were a drummer,
I was a drummer.
but you're obviously, we know you as a singer and an
Right.
artist. So how did the singing start? If I can interrupt your story for a second.
Yeah, of course. So I started singing because like Raf, who was in the social club, was playing pub gigs, right?
Yeah.
And he was making like 150 quid a week, quid a night, sorry, in boozers. So he was doing like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Boozers. I'm going to start saying boozers.
So he was making 600 quid a week. So I thought he was like Jeff Bezos. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's making £600 a week. And here's me playing like I was, at the time I was working in the studio that I actually went into audition to backtrack, and I was on like £6 an hour. And so I was making peanuts. And then Raf one night was like, "You need to learn to sing and play acoustic."
Gotcha.
And I was like, he's like, "Because I always need like subs in that." Like
Yeah.
Raf's a fucking hypochondriac, and he was always sick. Like he'd have a sniffle, and then I would always just be like, "Oh," and he said to me, "He's like, well, if you learn how to actually to do this, then you can sub my gigs." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Fucking hell, I can make more in one night." Or the same in one night I can make in 5 shifts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I'm doing it. So I just learned a set, man. Like I went to a couple of his gigs. I wrote down every song he was playing on a piece of paper, and I went home and I learnt the chords and I put them in the keys that worked for me. I don't even
Yeah.
think I knew what key was in actually. It sounded good.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
went with it. And then I bought a wee PA system that I got for £100 off Facebook Marketplace. And I just started doing these gigs, and then someone came up to me one night and was like, "Oh, you're a really good singer." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." I was like, I'm just doing this to make dough, mate. You know, I play drums is my and still drums at the center of my life was just
Yeah.
like that's all I wanted to do. Loved it, mate. I was daft for it. Like I couldn't go to sleep thinking about what new drum skin was I going to buy the next fucking day. When life was simple.
It's like Happy Gilmore.
Mate, I was so
He's
happy.
so good at golf, but he's like,
Yeah.
I want to be a hockey player.
I'll be a hockey player.
Mate, I was so fucking happy playing drums. And then there was the Edinburgh Festival, and I got a gig. There was the Famous Grouse tent. So the Famous Grouse is a Scotch whiskey. And the Famous Grouse had a tent. Edinburgh has the biggest arts festival in the world. Biggest arts festival in the world in August. And it was August of this year. I'd graduated the uni in June. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing in my life. Get offered the Famous Grouse stage. 50 quid a show, 3 shows a day. An hour set. I was like, oh my God. Like, and I was covering for RAF as well. So at this point I was making like 350, 400 a week. That point I was like, right.
You're rolling, baby.
Yeah. It was pretty big. So I do that, and then that's when I get the phone call. BBC, you've been singing. My guy who taught me drums owned the studio I was working in. Old guy, but he was like, I think you're at a place now you could audition for this. And I was like, oh, I fucking want to audition. But anyway, I did it because it made him happy. So I walk in, the audition's meant to be like 10 minutes. I walk in and there's 3 people sitting behind a desk. I'm like, hi, like, lovely to meet you. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do this in my head. But I was like, nice to meet you. And they're like, oh, what you got prepared for us? I was like, I said, I'm just going to be honest with you right now. I'm fucking dying. And I was like, and I have a guitar in this bag with 5 strings, and the only song, and this is true, I'm not just saying this because I'm in Tennessee. It's like the only song I think I could get through right now is Folsom Prison Blues.
Really?
In G, capo 3, slap an EAB on that. You're in G, you're having a good time. So I just did it, and they were like, but I had the real husk, so it was like, I hear the traitor coming. They're like, fucking hell, it's the new Rod Stewart. So I was like, but he's country. But it was more like, I hear the traitor coming, it's rolling round the bed, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when, but I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. So, you know.
That was beautiful, man.
The train keeps rolling.
Yeah, rolling Mars, baby.
So I sounded like a fucking Ned singing Folsom, but they loved it, and they were like, and they were English. Oh, that's amazing, Jordan. Do you have anything else? I was like,
I love your English impersonation.
So I was like, I have wagon wheel. They were like, oh.
You were just destined
we love to
come to Nashville.
What was this show?
Right, so I'm getting to it. Right?
Okay.
So I leave.
Hold your horses,
right?
David.
So I leave, and I'm like, well, fuck that. But they loved me for some reason. And they're like, oh, we got to call you back. And I was like, yeah, to tell me I'm not fucking getting it. That's fine. But what I found out, it was a show that was for Take That, which was a big band in the UK. Yeah, huge. So Gary Barlow was putting the show together, trying to find the next band for a musical. I didn't even know why the fuck I was doing it, but hey, I got to go to London. So I get this call, and they're like, we'd like to breathe. There was 15,000 people auditioned, and we think you're great. And I was like, oh. I'm like, but there's dancing in the show. And I was like, mate, I've got fucking 2 left feet. And they're like, that's okay. Dance auditions in Glasgow, and we'd love to see you there. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I go, and I go to this hotel in Glasgow, mate, right? And
this should be like a comedy movie.
It's amazing. Mate, this
is like Jordan Harvey's version of Get Him to the Greek.
Mate, I turn up with fucking my guitar. I've got my dad's denim jacket on. I've got a pair of Adidas Sambas on, black pair of jeans, and a white t-shirt, and I walk into this room. Room number 1 is it's a new. They've like dialed it down to like 1,000 people across all of the UK now. They're trying to find the final 100 or something. So I go into this room in Glasgow, and they're like, "Do you have anything prepared?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, great. What do you know?" And I was like, "Oh, I fucking learnt My Girl last night for my set." So there's me. I've got sunshine. They loved it. They're like, "Can you play me another song?" I went, "Actually, yes. This is Folsom Prison Blues and Jeans. We love this." We're looking. They're like, "We're looking for a guy in country," and I was like. I was like, yeah, I can be that guy. I've got a denim jacket. I was like, Folsom Prison Blues. So I leave that room, and they're like, okay, go and have your lunch. So I went and had my lunch, and they're like, okay, everybody, and welcome. It's going to be the dance edition. I was like, the fucking dance edition, mate. I'm not even joking you, right? Just wait till I get there. Just wait till I fucking get there. So I go in this room, and we're all in this massive dance floor. There's 100 people in this dance floor. They teach us this dance routine. It's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
But they go, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 groups of 20, and we're going to film everyone. Right? So I'm standing at the side. It gets fucking better, right? So I'm still, there's me and my Sambos. I've taken the jacket off now because I'm sweating, right? I learn the dance, and I'm like, okay, I can get through this and not look like horrendous, right? Yeah. I can get through it because I've got not a bad rhythm playing the drums and that. So get that, mate. 16-bar freestyle. At the end of the 16-bar choreographed dance, right?
Oh, I can't. You have video of this?
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere. So,
I gotta find it.
So, mate, I'm fucking. There's unbelievable dancers at this place. Like seriously, like smoking hot chicks, like unbelievable male dancers too. So I'm in the last group of 20 and I'm watching all these people. Guys are doing headstands and spins and backflips. Girls are like doing all these mad splits and everything. I'm like, I'm fucked, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't even thought about the freestyle yet. I'm just like, just remember the choreo. And I'm hitting the last 4 count on my step. And the guy's like, okay, freestyle. And I don't know what came over me, right? But I hit this fucking spin, right? Out of nowhere. This absolute spin. And I landed it fucking perfectly. And again, this thing went through my head. Will Smith from Hitch. Keep it safe.
Yeah.
2-step.
Yeah.
I 2-stepped.
Yeah.
For I think my spin was like a 4 count.
Yeah.
And I did a little, the hip went a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, bring it home, baby. There's people doing like backflips next to me, and I just 2-stepped in the pocket and I grooved. And at the end of it, the guys were like, smiles, like, cool. Went home, left the hotel where the whole thing happened, got in the car. My dad was like, how did it go? I was like, there's not a chance. There's not a chance. There's not a chance. There's just like, there's not a fucking chance. Phone goes on Monday. Jordan, yes. Well, we'd love to tell you you've made the final 40 and you're going to be on TV. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you going to be on?
Trying not to be on this.
So I was like, they're like, yeah, so we're going to move you to London and there's going to be auditions and we're going to get down to the final 25 and the final 25 is the finals. So I was like, all right, okay. So they fly me down to London.
Your English accent is fucking spot on, by the way.
In the final 40, mate, right? And I'm staying in this like hotel in like West London. And we go to the dance studio. And now one of my dear friends, a guy called Adrian Gass, and I don't know Nathan as much anymore, but these guys are very, very well connected in the dance world. Adrian, phenomenal dancer, one of the best choreographers in the UK and Europe, actually. Didn't know this at the time until I walk into this audition. I thought the one in Glasgow was hard. My days, mate. This dance audition for the Final 40 was hell. Like, it was so hard. But I think they deliberately did that to make it really difficult. So I leave that, I go back to my hotel room, call my mum. I was like, there's not a chance. I'm like, Mum, like, there was just insane dancers there.
Yeah.
Luckily now I know none of them could fucking sing, so that was, and it was a singing competition. So that was kind of, but there was dance involved too. They called me, Jordan. Yep. Love to tell you, mate, you made the final 25. And I was like, what the fuck? I called my mum. I was like,
I want to see these other people.
So they called me. We're going to move you into Pimlico in London. You're going to stay at the Dolphin House, and you're going to have a great time. And we're going to pay for you. They give me like a fucking Oyster card, and like, we're going to pay you lunches, and we're going to pay you every week £750. I was like, oh wow! I was like, I'm going to Las Vegas. Fuck you, Ralph. So exactly, Raph. Fuck off, Raph. We got 150 quid, you cheap robbing bastard. So I get, mate. I did this show, and like, honestly, I was on TV every week. It was fucking great, and I came like third. And come up, but they branded me as the country guy. Yeah. My first audition was me on live TV. Was kick drum and acoustic and all that, and my dad's always been a huge country fan, massive Johnny Cash fan. I've never really been a huge country fan, if I'm honest, but my dad was like, oh, I think after the show I moved home, and he was like, I think you should go to Nashville. I was like, well, I suppose, I mean, there's none for me in Edinburgh. There isn't.
And that's not like me coming from Kentucky to Tennessee.
Nah.
I mean, I grew up 4.5 hours from here.
Yeah.
In southeast Kentucky. But this is like, you're going across the pond, you're going, flights away from home.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's not like
deep in the heart of the States.
Yeah. So I was like, I had enough money. My grandma gave me a check for £2,000 because she'd helped my brother through Cambridge and paid for his meals and that. So I got this check, booked Norwegian Air. I knew one guy in New York, my buddy Brian Carter, phenomenal jazz drummer. Stayed with him for a couple of nights. Did the touristy stuff. It was my first time in America. Came down to Nashville, knew absolutely nobody. I thought that the right thing to do was to hang out at the Broadway bars. I'd never been here. So I was like, oh, that's where all the musos must go. So I went down. I was staying with this guy in this Airbnb in Laverne, who was a drummer on the circuit, on the honky-tonk circuit. Yeah. So he was Honky-Tonk Central, Rippies, and all that. Kid Rocks wasn't a bar at the time. It was Tootsie's, Tootsie's, Honky-Tonk, and Rippies were the three main ones that they were playing. So I'd go down and hang out, have some beers, watch the show. And then one night I was just like, I went to Nudi's Honky Tonk actually before I went to see those guys play.
The longest bar in town.
Dude, really long, yeah. And I was sitting there at the bar and they were like, $20 tip, like blah, blah, blah. So this guy walks past me with the tip bucket and I was like, if I give you $20, can I get on stage and play? And he was like, look, and I'm on
change.
my own drinking a Bud Light, and he was like, I was like, I don't have a guitar or that. I was like, but I know Folsom Prison Blues. Again, no shit.
Yeah.
And he was like,
As long as your bread and butter.
literally, bro. And he was like, okay, yeah, you can get up. So I paid my $20 and I got up on stage. And we all know
You paid to play.
I know, but I was like, I want someone to see me, right? So like, and I had no money to do that, but like, I remember, like, I always played Folsom Prison Blues at like, I hear the train a coming,
Yeah.
it's roll down on Broadway, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
So they start this, and I'm like,
quadruple
I hear the
time.
train a come, it's rolling around the bend, and I'm like trying to hold on for dear life, like, holy shit. So I get for the song, I come off stage, and I was like, okay, that was a hugely different experience than I anticipated, but it went well. Like I did it. They were like, oh, did you killed it? So I went back, went and saw the boys that night. Met this guy Josh Page, who was the lead singer in the band that the guy I was staying with in Laverne was playing for, and we hit it off like a house on fire. Fast forward a few months, the drummer who I was staying with knocks up his missus. She wants to move back to South Carolina, so he fucks off. So Josh goes, well, I need a drummer. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And he was like, do you know anything? I was like, nah, bro.
Folsom Prison Blues.
He was like, I was like, yeah. And I know it goes like this. And I was like, I know. No, he's like, oh, you know Merle Haggard and David Allen Coe. And I was like, no, not at all. So I had to chart all these songs. I did my first show. He loved it. Played really well on drums because, again, I'd session drummed for years.
Yeah.
So I just had to chart everything. I've done charts for years.
Yeah.
Did it. He's like, I want to give you the job. I'm like, great. Haven't yet told this man that I'm on an ESTA.
Oh.
What's
So it's a tourist visa.
Yeah.
So we get through the 3 months. I've gone through my immigration lawyer.
And now I gotta leave.
I'm applying for my O1 visa.
Yeah.
So comes to December, we're sitting in Taco Bell parking lot, the one just off of near Sylvan Park, the old one that's shut down. It's just past Elmington Avenue. It was on the right hand side towards the hospital down there on the west end. Sitting in the parking lot, and he's like, "Oh man, like you're leaving next week to go home," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, funny, I need to get your whatever it is, what number, 1099 number or whatever.
Yeah, 1099.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I need that. And I was like, funny you mentioned that. And he was like, what do you mean funny I mentioned that? I was like, don't have one.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, with it being cash in hand, it was just tip based down there at that time. I'd only done it for maybe 6 weeks or whatever, and we didn't have enough money to worry about taxes, thank God. So I come home, get my O1 visa. He kept my job all the way over summer, all the way over winter. Yeah, bro.
Wow.
He got subs in, and him and I, you know, he's one of my best friends. He was at my wedding and stuff, and he's getting married next year. And he was the real starting point for me and you know, turning point for me in my career here. I come back, I start playing for him, and I sing. And again, this all sounds like this guy's talking shit. It's not. One night, Josh lost his voice.
Yeah.
He says, can you sing? And we'd made a bit of a joke about me singing 500 miles, right? And I'd done it maybe once or twice before because then I'd do it, I would walk 500.
Yeah.
And I'd do it proper Scottish and the crowd loved it, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, well, you know Wagon Wheel, and I knew Mustang Sally, and I knew 500 miles, and I think I knew one more. Somebody like,
Prison.
and then somebody like you. I was like, I can do 5 songs. So I get up, I sing a couple, and then I sing 500 miles.
Yeah.
And when I sing 500 miles, the assistant for Robert Deaton is in the bar at this time. So Robert Deaton, for anyone that doesn't know him, is the executive producer for all CMA properties. And at this point, little did I know that he was working with BMG Records to try and put a band together, right? To find talent. And this woman videos me singing 500 miles and sends it to him. And he calls me and he's like, I want to meet you. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Okay.
Who's this guy? Yeah. Well, I didn't know who he was. It's like, hi, I'm Robert Deaton. And I was like, lovely to meet you, sir. I don't want to be like, who? I was like, oh, lovely to meet you, sir. I work in music, blah, blah, blah. Meet him. The next thing happens, I'm in King Calloway. All from me singing 500 miles, and I had my first ever major record deal within 6 months of living in
Did you
America.
know of any of those guys when you got put? Was it just put together?
No, but we had a lot of mutual connections. So, like, when I was studying in London at Drum Tech, we had a songwriting course, and a guy who taught the songwriting course was a guy called John Schoen. John Schoen then went on to be the musical director for One Direction. And Simon, who was in King Calloway, went to University in Manchester, and John was also a lecturer at Manchester University for the songwriting course. So we had a lot of mutual connections. I met Robert's son, Chris, immediately got on really well with him.
Yeah.
Great dude. And then Austin, who was played bass in the band, was a session bass player. He was in town. He just got off the road with Sabrina Carpenter. We'd all hung out. We were like, hey, you know, it's kind of like how a band used to be made. Like if you weren't high school buddies, you met through the circuit, right?
Yeah,
sure.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of how we all met, was just like through the circuit. And then we're like, all right, cool, let's have a go and have a stab at this. And that went mental, man. Like, you know, the 3 years I was in that, and we opened up for Garth, and we did every late night television show, and had the red carpet rolled pretty quickly in front of me, which was great. But I was asked to sprint and I didn't even know how to walk.
Yeah.
And I was sprinting and everyone was like, you don't know how lucky you are right now. Like, you've like expedited this town by like 10 years. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, only 2 years ago I was dancing on fucking TV.
It's
and now,
hard to be in that moment when that moment's just flying by you too.
Yeah, and then I'm on like James Corden like within 2 months, and then I'm on like the Jimmy Kimmel show, and I'm like phoning my mum. And the weirdest thing about this, and people always have this false idea that they're like, oh well, dude, you've been on Kimmel, you've been on Corden, you've played a stadium, you've been on an arena tour, like you're a millionaire. And I'm like, no, I'm a negative millionaire. I'm in minus millionaire. Yeah.
You have no idea.
I was like, I'm broke as shit. You know what I mean? I was like, but I'm living my fucking dream. And I wouldn't trade a thing for it. Like, that's the best thing about being in that band. Like, although it didn't work out the way that I think any of us had really anticipated or thought it would, the dream and the things that we did were priceless.
Yeah.
I did some things in life, man, that, you know, if 10 people listen to my music for the rest of my life, I did something that 99.99% of people will never get to do in their life. And instead of always wanting more, which we all want more, right? I want my next song to come out, I want it to get 50 million streams, and then it'll be 100 million streams. But man, like, I'm so grateful and humbled for what this town has offered me.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like, beyond.
Yeah. Well, I had never met you before. We actually played shows together in Toronto, Canada.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, crazy.
It's pretty wild. I took a bunch of writers and artists up there because Jenna, one of her clients, is Tennessee Tourism.
Yeah.
So the Tennessee Tourism people were like, we want King Calloway. And I'm like, well, I've never heard him. And I watched you guys. I'm like, they're very talented kids. I had no idea I'd be watching you.
Yeah.
And then
crazy.
fast forward to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it's Jordan, it's David. I'm like, holy shit, I've seen you before. And oh, King Calloway. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah. And then you start playing your stuff, which is not at all what King Calloway was.
No.
And it's such a departure from what you did in that band.
Yes.
And it's so fucking cool, dude.
Dude, I appreciate it.
really
Man.
is.
Like,
I mean, you get people all the time, they're like, listen to this. And you're like, oh, fuck, here we go again. Somebody's playing their demo.
Yeah, that song is still stuck in my head.
It's like you started playing songs, and I'm like, I look at Colt, and I'm looking, and you're like, oh, this is really cool, man. Yeah. It's like, can you get in? I'm doing the hand signals, like, get us in a room together.
Yeah, well, I think that what happened was, like, when I departed from King Calloway in the summer of 2020, John Loba, the head of BBR Records, who's a dear friend of mine, and one of the reasons why I'm still in this town, honestly, he offered me a record deal as a solo artist. So I had $100 in my bank account, and I was still in Scotland at the time, and I had rent to pay.
So you went back to Scotland.
So I was in Scotland because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
Yeah.
So John has been a believer in me from day one, and I've always felt very loyal to John, and John's, you know, always been extremely loyal to me as just a friend, as a person, as a believer. So I come back, and then I do my record for a couple of years before we get it out, back to the country radio grind again. And I really made a record that I think I didn't want to make, but I made a record that, again, I was given an opportunity of a lifetime to be on a record deal, to be with a record label, do country radio again, write some songs, and see where I can take it. And then what happened was, like, I'd finished my radio single, and, you know, the guys did a great job there, and I got engaged. My single, we came off my single, actually, no. We went to radio with my single in the March of 2023. The December of 22, I got engaged, and 2 days after I got engaged, I had a seizure. Right, my first ever, and we just spoke about this earlier.
Yeah, we just talked about this.
So I had my first ever seizure, and when I came round from my seizure and I started to get my feet back on the ground, I looked at my life and I said to myself, I'm not happy. I'm not happy in many ways. Love my life, like love my wife, love my parents, love my family. Don't love the situation I'm in music.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm playing something that I'm not, right? There's something cool, well, I don't know if it's cool actually, something gimmicky about a Scottish kid doing country music, right? Sure. And I think we hoped the gimmick would work, right? And I felt like at the point, I'm like, man, like, I grew up on bands like The Clash, The Jam. I grew up listening to Clapton. I grew up listening to Supertramp. And I grew up listening to the 80s and Huey Lewis and the News and the Beatles. And I'm like, why the fuck am I singing about trucks? And like, what am I doing with my life, right? And like, so I knew we were still going to go. I had a little bit of my radio tour to finish when I got back, and then we were going to go to radio with my single Along for the Ride. And again, I was in this caught in between a rock and a hard place where I was like, why do I feel so like I feel selfish? I felt really bad because I'm like, I've got an opportunity of a lifetime. These guys are about to take a single to radio, and I'm so grateful for John. Like, I'm just gonna knuckle down. I'm going to get through this single, and then I'm going to reevaluate after the single. I'm going to pour everything into it. You know, I'm going to go balls to the wall on social media. I'm going to go balls to the wall with promotion. I'm going to be the best I can be in these rooms. I'm going to take everything that I can, and I'm not going to take anything for granted. And I did that. Single got to a decent spot. We unfortunately had to come off it. And then right after that, I was like, okay. Met this guy, Rob Prasad, who's one of my dearest friends, phenomenal pop producer, pop rock producer. We sat down. He said the words to me that I'd always knew inside my head, but no one had said them out loud. You are not a country artist.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Okay, that hit home. He's like, let's make a record together. I want to be on this. I want to do it with you. 50-50. Let's do it. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, please.
Yeah.
So we were at our first song, Wild Love. And as soon as I got that song, I come home and I just bawl crying to my wife. And well, my fiance at the time, she's like, what is it? And I was like, today is the first time that I've ever written a song and being just like so proud of it. Like so proud of it to the point that I'm like, we had bagpipes in the track.
You felt yourself.
Felt myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm managed by two great guys. In turn, a guy called Tyler Corrado and a guy who's obviously got a good, well-known reputation in this turn by the name of Chris Cappy, who manages Mr. Luke Combs. And I go to Cappy and I said to him basically exactly what I'd said to you guys. Don't think I'm a country artist, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I know this could be alarming. Like a lot of managers, you kind of signed me and you managed me because I'm a country artist.
Yeah.
And Cappy still gives me chills. Just goes, I don't give a fuck what you do. I just want you to be happy. We're behind you.
It's amazing.
We're behind you. And he said, if we have to leave the label, he said, let's do it. Let's get out of the deal. So I go and speak to Loba, call Loba. We have a great sit down. And this is what I love about John Loba. Walks in the room, sits down, looks him in the eye, says, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And I said, bro, I don't know what I want to do. I said, but I know what I do want to do. I said, I know what I want to do isn't country.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to waste your time. And I actually said these words to him. I said, bro, I came into this town not knowing what I was getting myself in for. And there's a lot of kids that move from far and wide to this town to get a deal in country music. My heart is not in this.
Yeah.
Please give that spot to someone else. Someone else gets to. I've lived my dreams here, bro.
Yeah.
I've done it all. Like, all my dreams have been done.
That's great too, dude.
Yeah. I was like, give it to someone else. So I hugged him and he said, I'm here for you 100%. Doors always open. Still speak to him weekly, you know?
That's awesome.
And I left and I made the record. So the music that you're hearing now, the music that we wrote today, the songs that we're doing today, like, we're talking about, you know, drinking in the Guildford Arms and my songs and like heartbreaking, like, this is stuff that I live.
I will have to say, this is the first time that I've ever been involved in a song that has Guildford Arms in it.
Yeah,
everything about it is something based in Scotland.
Yeah, I don't even know what Guildford Arms is.
I don't either, because I just sat and watched him write a song.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
But it's lyrically, it's the first time on a record on a project that like, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm pouring stories of my past into this music, and it's all, I mean,
which in a sense is like country music, but you're being more authentic to your roots.
Man, when I heard In the Air Tonight for the first time, I'll never forget when because I deep dive into artists. When I heard Phil Collins for the first time, my mum used to play a lot of Genesis in the house, but I couldn't put two and two together. I didn't know that Phil also had a solo career.
Yeah.
I just knew,
pay attention, kids.
Turn it on again.
Genesis
Mama.
is Phil Collins. Phil Collins is Genesis.
Yeah. Like Turn It On Again and Mama. All these songs, bro. I was just like, wow. And the musicianship in that band, phenomenal. But then when
Sting is a police is Sting.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
When I got into the Phil Collins catalog, and like I think the first song I heard was obviously was In There Tonight because it's his biggest hit. But like Something Happened on the Way to Heaven and like Against All Odds, I'm just going like my mind. Another Day in Paradise, and my mind is going like, wait, this is one of the most love or hate Phil Collins, one of the most unique voices.
Yes.
You hear it, you know it's him.
Yep.
The sounds
that
he was using in his music, Sussudio, like, you know. I became obsessed.
Yeah.
I became obsessed with that sound, and I became obsessed with that music, and I became obsessed with weird chords and just everything about that music. And I remember, here's a funny thing. Sorry to backtrack, but when I was going on stage to open up for Garth Brooks with the fellas, and it was the biggest moment of my life to date, and I was going to a country show.
Yeah.
Country show. And I'm listening to the 1975 Phil Collins before I go stage to I'm not listening to She's Country, Jason Aldean with some bangers in country. I'm not listening to these songs to like get me revved up. Yeah. I'm listening to pop music inspired by the 80s to get me revved up for a country show.
Yeah.
I mean, that says everything you need to know right there.
Dude,
Right.
I tell you what, the most comfortable time in an artist's life, and I can speak to this as well, is when you find out who you are, and crowds, people that are listening to music, sometimes they don't know they are, not know that they're this way, but they can tell when it's genuine.
Yeah.
They can tell when you're putting on a front, and a lot of people don't like that, and you'll find out that way because you will fail. If you're true to yourself as an artist, as you have started to be, you're going to do well. Just for one, you're free. And everything that you have inside you is going to come out.
Yeah.
And people are going to love that honesty.
Yeah.
It's like the songs you played for me today about you fucking having a seizure.
Yeah.
You wrote this beautiful song about almost dying, having a seizure, almost dying.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But those times like that is when the true talent is going to come through, and it's when everybody's going to see the real you, and it's going to be this wonderful thing, and there's huge things ahead for sure.
I appreciate that so much, and it's so weird because like I, as a person, like there's I feel like songwriting for me has never been therapy until I started doing this record.
Yeah,
and like
man.
even today with like the song we wrote, I mean, I have never been more in love and happy in my life with my wife. Like, is my best friend, my rock till the day I die. Like, there's nobody that can even come close to that. But I have been in love before, right? And I've experienced that. And today when we wrote that song, I mean, and I said to you, you know, when we were writing that song, I was like, I want to write this song as like we're sitting at the table, because that was a moment that my ex and I had. Hand in hand, we've met the end of the road, okay?
Yeah.
And bro, that was almost 10 years ago, right? And I felt that today. Today I'm in that room writing that song, and I'm like, oh my God, there's emotion still inside me.
Yeah, but it's a part of you still.
Yeah.
It's not something that just goes away.
But bro, when I wrote my single for country radio with friends in town, phenomenal songwriters, and honestly, to people that have loved that song, like I'm so grateful, and it's such a great song. I remember when I got that song back, and I'm like, dude, this is so catchy. This sounds so great. Like, I love the energy in this song. This record, I've been like, and this sounds so like, I hope this doesn't sound cringy, but I'm like, fuck, I feel this song. Like, I feel this album. Like, I feel this record.
Yeah.
You know, and I have this song, this really special song, and I can't talk about it because there's things in the pipeline with it, but
Well, that's dumb.
I know,
but you'd bring it up.
I know, but I'll tell you about the song. I'll tell you about the song though. Because it's been cut by one of my favorite artists of all time, and I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. So I'm not even going to name anyone.
Who's the artist then?
Yeah, David.
What's the song called? Yeah, David Tolliver. Yeah.
So it's a song called "I'm Gonna Die Here," and I had the lyrics to this song, and it's about growing up in Scotland, and my friend, you know, passed when I was younger, and I had the words to this chorus in my head, and that I ended up, you know, massaging it with two of my buddies. And the words to the chorus go as follows: "They're, if I don't get up and leave, God only knows where I'll be, stuck in a rut, not giving a fuck about anything or anyone, drowning in drink and cigarette smoke. The devil's got his hands around my throat, and I can't ignore all the sirens ringing in my ears. If I don't go, I'm gonna die here."
Okay.
Wow.
Let's fucking go.
And I wrote that.
Folks, is why I just sat and watched today.
And I had that in my head, and we put it out on paper. And one of my biggest icons of all time that I was lucky enough to meet a few years ago.
Yeah, who's that?
I just texted to them one night. I hadn't spoken in a couple of years, and I immediately get this call saying, "This song is unbelievable."
To Luke Combs.
I wish it'd have been a lot easier. No, it wouldn't have been. And I have the video, and I can't wait to share all this information. And I will share all this information from my socials, and eventually when the time is right. But I have the video of me cutting the song with this artist and being in the room with this person, and then also the first time my wife and I were driving back from Whole Foods, and I got the text message. And I was like, holy shit, like, I've just got sent the version of the song.
Yeah.
My song that I hear my voice on is now sang by one of my biggest icons
That's
of all time.
That's a cool moment for any writer artist, too.
My wife's got it, and I'm so glad she got it. I am just fucking bawling.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you'll know this as well, right? Because I know you have written countless unbelievable songs. There's songs that you've written as well that you sing and you feel it and you hear it and you go like, oh, this is my song. But when you hear someone else sing your song, it goes two ways. Sometimes you hear it and you go,
Yeah.
It's good. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it wasn't kind of how I imagined it.
Yeah.
And then you get like, oh my God, this song was never meant for me.
Yeah.
This song was well
Yeah.
meant for someone.
Yeah.
And that was the feeling I got when I heard this back. I
That's
was like,
awesome.
oh my God, like, this isn't my song. Wow.
It's same song, but it becomes different for sure in a good way.
Yeah, it takes on a new life.
That moment, yeah.
Yeah. So different. But I think as well, and one bit of encouragement I'd give to any artist in town, and I have to consistently remind myself, and I have this written on a piece of paper stuck to my wall. And it's this, I ask myself this question every single day. What's the rush?
Yeah.
What's the rush?
Yeah.
Okay. If you believe in your art and you believe in your craft, doesn't matter if it takes 2 months, doesn't matter if it takes 2 years. If you believe in it, doesn't matter if it takes 10 years. Okay. A song that you create that maybe doesn't go viral in the first month and you stop promoting, or doesn't catch on to something in the first month, could definitely catch on in 6 months.
Yeah.
Could catch on in 9 months. If you believe in what you do, stay consistent and be prepared for when the opportunity does come. Because if you're not, that leads itself into its own problems.
It's wonderful advice. It's great advice.
You know?
I completely agree with it.
Yeah.
I think every one of my songs that I've had out have been way before their time and should be released again.
And you should do them.
Yeah, every one of them.
You can't rush art. You can't rush perfection. You know, I mean, we still looking back on famous pieces of artwork and songs from hundreds of years ago. You know, so and like I don't know, for some reason I'm just thinking about like all the famous painters from back in the day. I mean, those guys worked on those things for years before, and it took hundreds of years before they even did it for anybody to really appreciate it for what it is. You know,
and I think as well, man, like my dad's so funny. Like, he called me when the first song came out, and he's like, "Oh, the YouTube video, in the first few days, 75,000 views," and I'm like, "Dad, it's a number." I was like, "Dad, don't look at numbers. There's money that goes into advertising. There's money. Like, don't look at numbers." I was like, the goal in all of this is I make art because I love to make art and I love to be part of it, but I want to build the music I create. I want people to resonate with. I don't care about numbers. What I want to do is I eventually want to build a group of fans that I can go out and I can entertain, that I can make people feel happy. I can maybe make people, I can help them through heartbreak. Like, my goal in all of this isn't to be like, call my manager, by the way, we just got 500,000 likes on. Fuck off. Like, how many people care?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, make people feel, make people care.
That's why we write music.
I'd never written a song just to be like, can't wait to get 50,000 likes on it.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. Like,
God, this is going to go viral.
yeah. Oh my God. And then falling into the trap, which again, I've been very guilty of like, I got to get all these really great hooks in the beginning of my videos to like hook people in so it goes viral.
Yeah.
I'm so over that now. See if my videos I've always said it's a numbers game. So if I start and I know there's certain things I can do that get me higher numbers. I've just seen it. I know how it works, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, what I want to do now going forward is I want to create artistic visuals that represent the artistic sounds of my music.
Yeah.
So if they start and they get 100 views, 50 views, there's going to become a turning point when you do something really well consistently that people will take notice.
Yeah.
And goes back to your point, when you are truly yourself and you are free, and it's good, people will gravitate towards
Yeah.
it.
definitely.
Yep.
It will find a gap.
Yeah. What do you have going on right now that you're very excited about, other than the star that's cut your song that you won't tell us about? That's great.
Yeah. So super excited that I have.
We just released a new song last week or week before.
Yeah.
What's the name of that song?
It's called "This Is What It Feels Like."
Yeah, and
This is what it feels like.
Yeah. Oh, bro, I appreciate it, man. Man, do you know what? I'm just most excited that we have a plan for next year. With the label I'm with now, which is an independent label, the Orchard, they're great, and management and so forth. I have a plan, and I'm writing great music that I'm super passionate about, and that music's going to see the light of day. I feel like I was really saddened previously with a record label, and I know why this is, but like, there's only so many songs you can release a year on a label.
Yeah.
I can release them all now, and being consistent, getting to play shows. We're looking at touring opportunities next year, but honestly, in the near future, man, I've got a lot of work to do up until about December 10th, and then I'm really excited to take a couple weeks and spend it with my wife, because we've not had any time together.
Yeah.
And I think that we've always got to remember that, like, spending time with the missus, man, is just like, we're probably going to go down to the beach for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have all my material that I need to post, and I'm going to give it to my manager, and I'm going to say, post it every day at 6 o'clock. I am out for 2 weeks,
Yeah, man.
Because by that point, we'll have cut 15 to 16 songs will be mixed and mastered for next year. The album's in the works. the song will be done that I was talking about, and then next year it's just the floodgates are opening, and we're going to go balls to the wall.
Dude, that's badass.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of yours.
I was just gonna say. So, I think this would be a fun point to say. Okay, you're from Scotland, right? You lived here for 6 years.
Yes.
So big culture shift, I'm sure, right? So, what are some things about America versus Scotland that you like better, and vice versa? Like maybe food. Is there like a good comfort food from Scotland compared to here that you're like, holy crap, how do these people eat this?
Oh yeah, loads. I mean, grits are fucked, but like,
I've never heard that before in my life.
Yeah, I think that what I love most about America is that it is true. This is the land of opportunity.
Yeah,
it really is the land of like, if you can get to America and you can get into any type of industry in America, or you're an entrepreneur, like this is better than anywhere else to make your dreams come true. You just have that feeling. It doesn't matter if you're in Nashville, you're in New York City, you're in Austin, Texas, you're in Montana, you're in LA. Like wherever you are in America, there's always that buzz. It's like, my life could change today. Something could happen, right?
Yeah.
The infrastructure in America, the pay in America, the believe in America is way bigger and better. On the UK side of things, I would say that I love everything else. Politics is quiet. No one really gives a fuck. The pub is louder than politics, which is great. Everyone goes to the pub. Beer's cheap as shit. The banter's good.
Yeah.
Everyone loves each other, you know, and if we don't, you punch them in the face and then you buy them a beer after it. It's just, it's such an easy way of life. Scotland is less divided. Way less divided. The biggest divide is the football team you support.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
that's all it is. But in Scotland, man, it's such a laid back life, and there's not as much kind of like power given to social media. Like I feel like we're all on our phones or we're on Instagram or TikTok. People they're not on it as much in Scotland. But in terms of food, man, like barbecue over here is it's just the goat, bro.
Barbecue.
Like, bro, you go to Edley's barbecue and you get like a stack of ribs.
Edley's is fire, dude.
Dude, you get a stack of ribs with
that
some
brisket
slaw.
plate.
Dude,
let's go.
Mac and cheese, beans,
sausage.
Dude.
Yeah. The
wings,
weather, man.
Smoked wings.
I love the weather here.
You get sunshine.
Yeah, the sun's beautiful here.
It's nice. Oh, dude, when I was in the UK, we were in May.
Yeah.
And we had one day of sprinkle. The rest of the time, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, when you get
absolutely gorgeous.
You were very lucky.
We were very lucky.
The thing, America is just a better way of life, in my opinion. But the UK, man, like the beer, in my opinion, is better in Scotland. Like fucking haggis as well, mate. Like, oh my god, I know it's a stereotype, but fuck, I love haggis.
Do you really love haggis?
I love it, mate. I could fucking wash my face in it.
Yeah.
My wife loves it too. When we got married in Scotland.
Do you eat blood sausage?
Yeah, black pudding. Yeah,
black pudding.
Yeah,
they put it down in front of me in Ireland, and I didn't realize what it was.
So good.
And I took au contraire, bonjour.
You don't like it?
I took a bite. Well, I'll eat anything. And we were in this B&B in Galway.
Oh, nice,
and it was
mate.
just gorgeous. It's this older couple, this old woman and an old man, and they were just the sweetest people. And she put it down and, have you breakfast? And I'm like, yes, I'll have it. I'll eat every bit of it. And I hit that black pudding, dude. And they're a little deceiving, calling it black pudding. Because you call it blood sausage, and you'd be like, no. It was like eating a piece of iron.
Yeah, I love it, man.
I don't know how you eat it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Interesting names for food over there.
It's white pudding and black pudding.
Yeah, I love black pudding, mate. And I think as well, like, I don't know how you feel about this as well, but like I know you've not spent a ton of time in the UK, but you've been there obviously on holiday and stuff.
Yeah.
It's anytime I land in Scotland, when I'm in America, it's hustle, hustle, hustle. Every second is like, let's hustle, let's do this. In Scotland, I can just like breathe, man.
Yeah.
I can just chill.
It's like, definitely, I mean, other than Dublin was a little bustle, but other than Dublin and London is London.
Yeah.
But like Salisbury, Bath, you know, Galway, just chill.
Just so, and same with Edinburgh, man. Like,
laid back people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with America as well, and especially, maybe it's just me being here, but I feel like a lot of my friends are like this. You always want more. And like, you always want that next cut, or you always want that next paycheck. Whereas in Scotland, they're like, oh yeah, I make 30 grand a year and I'm fucking so happy. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that, because I mean, if I could looking back, if someone could have told
Honest
me I
living, yeah.
made 30 grand a year when I was 18, when I was making 150 a week, I'd have chopped their arm off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think that there's something to be said about that we always want more here, myself included. And over there, they're like, oh yeah, no, got my flat.
Yeah.
Go to the pub every three nights a week with the boys.
Yeah.
Take the missus out on a Saturday. Like, I'm like, I sometimes fucking envy that, honestly.
Sometimes a simple life can be very
Sometimes
envious.
you miss life if you don't look for it and just relax with it.
Great point.
Yeah.
So when you were with King Calloway, did you guys get to tour much of the states?
Yeah, I've been to every single state in America minus Hawaii, minus Alaska, and honestly, I think that's it.
Any standouts that you visited? You're like, man, this is really fucking awesome.
Again, stereotype. I love New York. I love Boston. Birmingham, Alabama fucking slaps, by the way.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, it slaps, man. I like it.
That's not where I thought you were going to go.
What do you think about the culture of the folks in Alabama compared to like what you grew up with in Scotland? Those are some very southern folk.
Yeah.
You think?
So my wife's gran and granddad remind me a lot of my gran and granddad because like the southern hospitality is real.
Yeah.
Thing is though, you could say like fucking cunt and that at the dinner table back in Scotland. I found out the hard way that you can't say cunt
you
in
don't
Alabama.
do that here.
You don't say cunt in Alabama. No,
especially around grandma and grandpa.
No, but I learned that the hard way, and I think that what was my old man.
Did they give you a weird look?
Yeah, there was a word from the mum later from my mother-in-law, but like my dad always told me like, it's better to it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah.
So I was just begging for forgiveness. Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to say cunt. Oh, sorry. Said it again. Oh, silly me. Won't do that again.
It is different. And I got an Australian. One of my good friends is Australian. And it's like a term of endearment.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a cunt.
Yeah, if you're a sick cunt, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Like, that means, like, you're past the point of being great. Like, you're a sick cunt. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that... And here's what always used to crack me up about America, right? This is what cracks me up. Like, I'm like, you're offended by the word cunt, yet your best friend of 26 years you've just fallen out with because you don't align politically.
Yeah.
Maybe be offended by... Maybe there's bigger fish that you've got to be looking at than the word cunt. Right? You know what I mean? Like, that person was at your wedding, did a speech, and you're not talking to them because they don't politically align with you.
Why don't you look at the intent behind it rather than the thing itself?
Yeah, I'm like... Cunt's a great word. Maybe everyone could just like it and soften up a little bit.
Yeah. Chill out, man.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the only last thing I'll say about politics in the UK, because I'm going to make it about the UK and not about the US. In the UK, you go to the pub. There's two major parties that run the UK. There's the Labour Party, which I lean more towards. I'm never going to be shy to admit that. And then there's the Tories, which are toffs and rich people and wankers. And I've got mates that are Tories, right? And I'll sit in the pub and he'll be like, oh yeah, Rishi Sunak. And I'll say, you're a wanker, he's a wanker, but I love you.
Yeah.
Let's have a pint. And he's still my pal.
Yeah.
And I still love him.
We've deviated from that over here so
It
much.
used to be more like that here.
Back in the Mitt Romney and Barack Obama days, Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, two outstanding gentlemen that had great policies on either side. You could argue both, okay? As an outsider, not looking in, don't have a political opinion. But the way they conducted themselves, they'd shake hands, they would congratulate each other.
Did
that
you
was nice.
see those debates?
Yes.
Blew my mind.
Yeah.
They would the
cordial.
moderator would try to bait one of them, and Mitt Romney was like, look, I respect this man.
Which was amazing.
Let's keep it about the issues. Let's not make it about each other.
No personal attacks.
And Obama was saying, I'm like, this, I forgot all about this. I forgot how politics here used to be.
Yeah.
It's gotten wild.
Well, here's the thing. This is when my this is when my head almost fell off my shoulders, is when I watched the presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And then but previously to
Two
that,
angry
right?
old men.
Yeah. Previously to that, I was like, I'm going to watch a little snippet. I caught like a little shortened clip of the Mitt Romney Barack Obama one because a friend had told me about it before watching the Trump Biden one. And I watched a little broken down version of it on YouTube. And I was like, wow, that's like really like, they were polite. They were really respectful. Like, it was really great. And then I watched two old men talk about their golf swing.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, is this actually happening on public television that two men, grown, elderly men, are out cocking each other, saying my cock's bigger than yours because of my golf swing? Yeah. I was like, this is fucking mental. No, you could. I play off 6. I'm like, there's no way. That was a mistake.
Yeah,
and then the other boy replies, well, I can play to 6. And I'm like, Is this
happening?
Is this happening?
What have y'all done to this country over here?
No, man. But you know what I think is
wild.
going to be great, though, man? I think, and I hope to Jesus, we're about to be in the fucking punk era again. I think everyone's going to go, fuck TikTok, fuck politicians, fuck record labels, fuck everything. Just fuck. I think that's what we're going to get to.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking for it. If the next Joe Strummer comes out in fucking the UK and there's a new Clash, there's a new Jam, there's new bands, there's a new Nirvana where it's just basically fuck everything. We need that.
Hey, someone's got to wave that flag. Maybe you're the flag bearer.
Dude, I'll be in this band with you.
Yeah, bro.
We should start a punk band.
Bro, could you imagine?
Would be awesome.
Called cunt.
No. Sick cunt.
Yeah.
Sick cunt.
Sick cunt would be good. Or just cunt. You know, like, how good would that be?
Skunt.
Yeah.
Skunt.
Yeah.
Dude, I worked with this old dude from Ghana. Like, South America, Ghana.
Yeah.
French Ghana. Yeah. But he would do it under his breath. He sold tires. And his name was, God, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but he was this old brown man, and he was so cool.
Brown man.
And he would eat a key and saltfish all the time. But he would when he do like that, these and he get tires and he got the fucking skunt. And then under his breath, when he's working with a customer,
What a
he's
legend.
on get these tires for the
The
skunt.
customer's like, did he just? No,
And
probably not.
you couldn't really understand, but I'd be beside him and I'd just be dying, man.
Bro. I'm telling you though, man, I just think that like the punk era was so dope, man. Like it was so refreshing. Everyone just worries about what someone else thinks, or like, everyone needs validation, or if you do this, you're wrong. I just say fucking.
We haven't really had that since the '90s. I mean, that's what the grunge movement was. You know?
It was basically post-punk.
Well,
Yeah.
we have moved into a society where we're offended by everything and not.
Everybody's afraid to go against the grain now.
And we're not doing it in the right way.
Because you can get canceled, I'm air quoting.
Which I think is so dumb.
It's
so dumb that, like, okay, again, if you have a political opinion, I don't think there should be any difference if Madam Morris wants to say something about Democrats. Hey, go and do your thing. If Jason Aldean wants to say something about Republican Party, do you know what, mate? Go and do your thing. You've got an audience of people that follow you and like what you say, and you do. You should be absolutely entitled to say. Same with her. She wants to say what she wants to say and believe what she wants to believe, and everyone can love who they want to love or whatever. I am so open for that. Everyone should just be left the fuck alone.
Yes.
And if you want to say something, say it, because that's what we used to love about things. We used to be pulled towards things because people had an opinion. Like, I loved when people had an opinion.
It helps each other to hear
opinions.
different points of view.
You know what? You just made me
It
think
makes
of
you a
something.
better person.
Like, this all probably kind of somewhat started, at least in the music business,
Yeah.
in country, especially like 2000 when the Dixie Chicks started popping off about George Bush.
Yep.
And look, those girls were on top of the world
Fire.
Yeah.
at that point.
They were on fire.
and then
it took a turn.
They talk shit about Bush, and the next thing you know, they don't have a career anymore.
No.
And this is
That changed
pre-cancel
their
era, you know?
Well, when you
Cancel
have
culture.
a fan base that is rooted in that,
Yeah.
and you alienate that fan base, which
But
is
also you gotta
rooted
remember,
in
like,
that.
When was that, after 9/11?
Yes, it was when the Toby Keith
this is
was
when
when your ass.
Yeah.
This is when American pride was at an all-time
Yeah.
high, where everybody was like Team USA.
Yeah.
It wasn't left, right. It was
And
like,
Well, from what I
everybody
remember, they said something like
when
they
you shit
didn't
on
wanna-
America, or you shit on the president, you shit on America, so everybody's like, oh, fuck those girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they were
yeah.
gone.
You go from
Yeah.
you just stepped on an eagle.
We're patriotic people.
Eagles 8.
Yeah.
Patriotic Americans are a different breed of people. Like, I'm all for being patriotic. Like,
Well, they're severe patriotic
they're
too.
severe-
That's
yes.
That's a bit.
'Cause,
That's
like,
a bit much.
in the UK as well, man. You look at someone like Sam Fender, who on stage goes do 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 do, fuck the Tories, and like that's basically saying fuck the Conservative Party, right? But all his fans. But I'm like, great. I'm like, wow, look at that. There's a man with a fucking opinion, and I can relate to him because I'm like, yeah, fuck the Tories. Now there could be someone that comes out and goes do 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 do, fuck Labour, and then like, okay, if my mate fucking hates Labour,
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got an opinion. You should have your opinion, bro. Like, why does everyone have to be fucking criticized?
Nothing
Like,
wrong with opinions.
Racism, sexism, anything like that is fucking appalling, and is in no place in the world. But an opinion about a policy or about a football team,
Yeah.
have at it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Have at it. But everything goes in so deep in this country, man. Like, well, if you like this side, they don't believe in this, and they don't believe in that. And I'm just like, fuck. Like,
Well, people get angry, and you just can't really get angry.
And the amount of people that watch the news here, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did you watch this morning? I'm like, Tulsa King. Sly
Yeah.
Stallone, fucking awesome. Stallone, they're like,
Supernatural.
they're
Dean
like-
and Sam are beautiful men.
yeah. They're
You
like,
know.
I watched CNN for 4 hours and then I had to check Fox for 2. I'm like,
Wow.
That's my mom, bro.
I'm like, what?
can't.
Like she wakes up to Newsmax and Fox every morning. I'm like, Mom, you're.
That's my mother-in-law.
It's like,
I love her
come
dearly.
on. Yeah.
But there's Fox News on in the house 24/7.
Mama, you gotta change the channel. Get that prices right, girl.
That's right.
Spin that big wheel. You
That's
know.
right.
I will say though, sometimes it cracks me up. Like, you know, I miss the 90s back in the day where like you called it the living room because that's like where everyone would come to like watch TV and talk
Yeah.
about what was on TV. And now we have our phones, so we all watch them on our own, right?
In
Which is
30-second segments.
which is kind of sad. And like I feel like I always try to be not only a better person, right, but like a better partner as
Yeah.
well. And like one thing that I was thinking of lying in bed last night was the missus went to bed a little early because she wasn't feeling really great. So I'm sitting on my phone watching a TV, and like there has to be some type of like art skit that I want to do on this where, you know, there's a couple lying in bed and there's a woman looking, or a woman or a guy looking at their partner, or two guys or two girls, whatever, like just looking at your partner, and one of them trying to talk to that partner and be like, I love you, like, you know, I'm so grateful for you, and the other person just being on their phone and just being like, because that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still every night before I go to bed, I look at my wife, I say, I love you.
Yeah.
You know, and we watch a show, we watch the Great British Bake Off together. We have the dog in between us. We just we look at each other as soon as we wake up, we say, I love you, we give each other a kiss. That's old school. Doesn't happen these days.
No.
You wake up 9 times out of 10 and their fucking other partner's probably on their phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, there's things that I want to improve upon in our relationship. Like let's not do phones until we've had our cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Let's not do phones until we've had our breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, let's not do phone, like just simple things to try and
Take a break
reconnect.
from it. Take a couple hours.
Yeah.
At least take an hour, take 30 minutes, and just consciously don't do anything technologically related.
Yep.
Like I will go out now and sit out back and look at the birds.
Yep. I love that.
Yell at the squirrels.
Yeah, I love the squirrels, bro. I'll feed the squirrels. Feed the squirrels, feed the raccoons. I have Reuben, the raccoon that comes by every night.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah.
Top boy.
He is. Where can people find you on your socials?
Larry Flint Social Club, usually. Deja Vu, you know, on a Tuesday. Now, you can find me anywhere, Jordan Harvey Music, across any type of platform.
Jordan Harvey Music.
Jordan Harvey Music. Yeah, I'm across all platforms, YouTube, you name it. And one thing I would love to say on this this cast is I do have a new. When you asked me, it just hit me. When you asked me what I'm super excited about next year, I'm super excited about obviously all the music and all that. However, I have been working on an educational tool with all the years of being in music. I sat down earlier this year, and I've always loved education, and it's always brought a light to my life when I've done well on, be it on social media or on TikTok or whatever, and I get a message being like, hey, this was really great. How did you do that? Or how did you get to Nashville? Or how did you? And I've kind of compiled all these questions and I put them on in a spreadsheet, and I looked at them all, and I was like, there's so much I could do to help people.
Yeah.
So I want to take all the knowledge I've learned over the last 6 years of being in this town, the last 15 years of being in music, and I want to help. I'm building a course right now to help educate independent artists in this form, and not just in the country, but just who want to be an independent artist, and it's going to be able to take you from A to B. So instead of having to go to the year or the 4-year university courses, it's going to be everything in this roughly 25-hour course that you can buy for a one-time fee, and it's going to have interviews with writers, it's going to have interviews with, you know, publishers, it's going to have interviews with managers, it's going to have educational properties in it that you can watch that be so fucking inspired that all you want to do is pick up a guitar and try and make a life in music.
That's great.
That's
man.
awesome.
So yeah, I'm super excited about that. I'm going to be doing a lot of that over the holidays and building that in my quiet time.
Do you have a name for that?
I do. I've copyrighted it all. It's called Independent Artist 101, and it's my website's called How to Make It in Music.
I love it.
You planning on launching it next year?
Going to launch it next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did one that's
an eye out
Independent
for that.
Artist 102.
Oh, great. And then there's 103, I think, just came out too. Yeah.
Copyright.
No, but the
yeah.
independent, I own all the copyright to it because I did it before I was even going to let it out there. But yeah, the Independent Artist 101 is going to be the course. We have a 7-day songwriter course built in there too.
Great.
Yeah, and then it's all going to be under how to make it music, and it's going to be a very community-driven based.
I can't wait to buy it.
Thank you very much. I
It's going
appreciate
to
it.
help me out in my career, I think.
Hey, you have had a wonderful career, my friend.
I have a fabulous career.
And you still have a
Maybe you can teach David how to contribute lyrically to a song next time.
Maybe you can.
yeah. You know, you have people that are creatives, you have people that are leaders, and you have people that are piggybackers.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
a
a-
piggybacker.
Piggybacker.
Here's the thing about if you have someone and kids,
This is the best advice, by the way. This is phenomenal advice.
If you have someone who is just at the piano playing guitar, just letting lyrics fly, don't fuck it up. Don't inject yourself. Listen. That's the best thing a writer can do in this town sometimes is just listen. And it's some of the hardest things you have to
But
do.
it's all about me, David.
Now, hey, there's been times where I've been the talker. There's some times that I've been the listener. Today, I was the listener, and I saw greatness.
That's so kind. It's so kind, and it's so true. And I think that with creativity, when creativity arrives, you got to let it come out, and you got to. And I've sadly enough been in this town where
It's like a fire hydrant.
yeah,
No.
where I learned the hard way, like, and we've all been there, where I've not shut the fuck up before, and when someone's on a roll, and I've been a dick, right? But that was a mistake that I wish if I'd heard you say that, like if I'd heard that advice,
Yeah.
I would have shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But no one had actually really told me until after I'd run the risk of ruining a song.
This is 20 years of songwriting in this town that I've finally figured out a few things, and
Yeah.
that's one of them.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
sometimes shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody's tapped into the
Yeah.
creative muse and it's flowing. You
Yep.
know?
One thing I will leave you with, like when we were talking about, you were saying like how you become so much more artistically free when you do what you're meant to do. And for years, I would get into rooms and I would write songs, and I'd be hitting my head off a brick wall because I'm like, why can I not finish this song? Like, why can I not get this song out? Why is this not landing the way it's meant to land? And I feel like it's because I was forcing it.
Yeah.
And like the other day when like I had this, and I told you about it earlier, I woke up, and as soon as I woke up, I had this melody in my head, and I had this lyric where everyone, like, since you've met me, and since both of you guys have met me, I'm a very happy, very outgoing, charismatic, optimistic young lad. Like, I've always been that. And my mum has always said to me, like, you're always the boy that smiles. So I had this line in my head. So it's like, everyone I turn to says I'm the boy that smiles. So someone tell me, why does it feel like I'm dying inside, right? So I had this line and this whole song wrapped around it. I jump out of bed, I run to the computer in my little studio setup, and within 10 minutes, I have this chorus, and I'm jumping out my fucking chair. And I'm like, I've sat in rooms trying so hard to write this and to land it like this. It came to me in seconds because I'm in this place now where I'm like, okay, I know what I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm letting my life that I've lived come out into my music. And it's fucking great, man. It's so great.
Love
and it's
that.
so therapeutic, man.
Yeah.
It's so therapeutic.
That's great, man.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah. I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Have you ever in your life spun a wheel of shame?
No, but I would love to spin a wheel of shame.
Oh, you're going to, Daddy Bear.
Let's fucking go.
Put your finger on
Okay.
that.
Oh, God.
Give it a good old finger and get up in there.
Have you ever fingered a wheel before?
Yeah.
Hey, a couple.
Yeah. Oh, that's the
So gentle.
such a gentle,
You're
dainty
a proper
Scottish
gentleman.
Tortilla slap.
Oh, shit.
Can I get slap with tortilla?
Oh.
What's a chubby bunny?
It's a game.
I get tortilla slap? Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I've never been slapped with tortilla.
Well, you're about to.
I've got good
Well,
pain.
maybe. I don't know. I'm back over here. I don't know.
What's Jasper Neutron?
Jasper Newton was Jack Daniels, his name. His name was not Jack Daniels. It was Jasper Newton.
What is Pinchy Pin?
Pinche pendejo.
What happens in that?
Yeah. Tequila.
Oh, so I just get slapped with a tortilla instead.
Well, you'll see.
All right. Have you ever seen the tortilla slap challenge?
No. Well, I think so. I've seen people get slapped in the face with a piece of bread.
Okay, so here's the rule of the game. So
Right.
I guess you and I are going to do this.
Yeah.
So
that video.
David's our videographer.
Yeah.
So you hold it like a tiny sip of water in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses gets slapped by the tortilla.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of three? Like, and how are we doing it? Like 1, 2, 3, go?
Also,
Yeah.
like,
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
When do we put the water in our mouth?
Before.
Do you put it in your mouth too?
Yeah.
Do
But
you
then-
put it
It's
in
me
your
versus
mouth
you.
too?
But then if I have to slap you, then you're going to spray water in my face.
Well, I'm not going to spray it in your face.
Yeah.
The point is, you're trying not.
to lose your water.
Yeah, you don't want to spit it out.
All right, cool. So I put water in my mouth, rock, paper, scissors, you beat you, and then slap you a tortilla. Fucking
Yeah.
great.
But
Love it.
it's going to make you laugh, so you can't spit it out.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm incredible at acting, so
Yeah.
just watch this.
Yeah, I got you.
Just like you're dancing.
All right.
No, that was
Can't
that
wait
was-
to.
Yeah, okay. And then, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, go. Best of 3.
Yeah. Take
Yeah.
your headphones off.
Are you gonna stand up for this, or are we sitting down? Get the tortilla ready. No, God. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh, got him. Give him a good one. Give him a good one. One, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh.
Dude, he folded it over.
And I put you on the lip, too.
Never seen anybody fold it over.
That's great. All right, you got one more thing you got to
Yes,
do.
please.
It's the initiation into
Yes,
the
I'd love
the
to.
Twang Town podcast here. Everybody does this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had smelling salts before.
No.
Okay.
You know what's interesting about the tortilla slap? Is like when you don't know someone really well,
Yeah.
you kind of ease up off of it a
Yeah.
little bit. I did this one time to a guy.
Cane him.
Well, here's that long story short.
Yeah.
He hit me in the nuts real hard, and it made me pass out. Right, this is during CMA Fest,
Uh-huh.
and so he came in like a week or two after
And you
that,
fucked him.
and I,
Well,
It was. I think it went open hand on him. Really.
I
mashed him.
I lit into
Yeah.
him. Right, so he's one of my coworkers. I worked with him for like almost 20 years. We have history, so I'm thinking like if you
Yeah,
were in
yeah.
the pub with one of your boys,
Oh,
you-
yeah.
like you would just really unleash on someone.
Yeah,
that's
think-
what makes it funny. But when you're trying. You know, like we've known each other only
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
so you're just
Trying
gonna
to
totally
hold back a little bit.
No, you could. Here's one thing that I will be very honest on, though. Like, I love my boys,
Yeah.
but me and my boys made this very clear to each other from day one. If you ever, and this goes for anyone that I know, if you ever fucking crack me in the nuts, I'm knocking you the fuck out.
Yeah.
There's only one piece. You can punch me in the liver,
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
face.
Yeah.
You punch me in the nuts. I don't care how much I love you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after. But I am going to fucking bite your
That's
head
the
off.
no-no
Yeah.
zone.
That's especially Pat. Like that's how painful it is.
It's
I'm
like
you're getting
somebody
dick
that
me.
keeps slapping you in the face, and finally I'm going to hit you.
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody keeps
Brother's
prodding
got
you.
a punch.
I'm like, you're one fucking.
We were out one night at
Yeah.
Losers, and I'll make this quick, but someone kept slapping me, and I was like, bro, if you slap me again, I'm going to hit you. And it was Colt. And he was in that phase
Yep.
of,
You know, when your eyes go dark,
there's nobody
and
home.
nobody's home.
We
Yeah.
fucked, yeah.
There's nobody home, so he slapped me again. I just punched him in the face.
Good.
And I don't even remember it.
And he doesn't remember it. And he didn't really move
Yeah.
at the time.
Just kinda was
and I
like-
was like, okay, I think it's time for you to go home.
Yeah. That's
So
when
we
you've had
put him in a cab.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for
I
taking
think-
care of me.
You're
That's
welcome.
one thing I will say about the difference between America and Scotland. I think just more people should just be punched in the face. We've done it. We've
It's
slapped.
what Mike Tyson said.
Yeah, more people just need
More-
punched in the face.
It's like the people,
Yeah.
not enough people are getting smacked in the mouth. They're
Yeah.
they talk when they're on social media, and not enough of them get smacked in the
It
mouth.
fixes a lot of problems.
It does.
We'd have less TikTok punks.
All right.
All right,
Here we go.
Jordan, I have here a bottle of Atomic Rhino smelling salts.
Atomic Rhino.
Is this gonna fuck me?
No.
Only if you let
Maybe.
it.
Okay.
It's gentle.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you the bottle, and you're going to hold it about right here.
Yeah.
And just
just a
that's
big
it.
breath. Big
I
breath
don't want to
in.
go crazy on the smelling.
Yeah, big breath in.
Don't do this.
Yeah,
Hold
just
it right here.
Can
right
I
there.
pass out from this?
No. No.
Just give it a. Don't give it a little. Give it a.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a one big quick. Breathe out before you get it over there.
Show us how tough the Labor Party is. All right.
Yeah, let's go, Labor. You're not a tough.
I'm not gonna go crazy on this because
No.
I'm fucking pissed.
All right, ready?
Here,
Yep.
Under the chin. Sniff.
there.
Yep.
Fuck me off, cunt. Oh my god. What the fuck? Who does this?
You gonna go again?
Yeah. There. Oh my. A Wow.
Fuck me off, cunt might be the best reaction.
Dude, we've had a couple people that just sit there and just sniff it. I don't know
doesn't
what's
even
wrong
affect
with them. It doesn't affect
Yeah.
them. My eyeball fell out when I did it. It was awful.
Yeah, see, the first time we ever did it used to just be part of this, but now we've made it a thing for every guest.
What's the benefit of it?
No, it wakes
Well,
you.
it's like bodybuilders will get this, like before they lift really heavy weights, and it just gets the adrenaline flowing and
I'm fucked,
let's
yeah.
go. You know,
Yeah. I mean, that's intense.
or if you're passed out, you know, like from a football hit or
oh,
something.
they used that to wake Josh Allen back up.
That's what they crack it and put it under their nose. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'll bring you back.
Yep.
Oh,
Sure
yeah.
will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably should have had it when I had my seizure. Not
Yeah.
to get too insensitive,
Yeah.
but like, you know, happened to me. So
I'm sure you'll write a song about it.
yeah, exactly. Man, you-
Smelling salts today woke me up from my slumber.
I
Whatever.
needed
I don't
salts
know.
when my brain stopped.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fine.
it's true. I
Dude,
need salt
thank
when my
you
brain
for
stopped.
being
nah,
here
mate,
today.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to go and take the dog for a walk.
Yeah,
There we go.
Take the dog for a walk.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are absolute champs. I appreciate you writing with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate all
Thank
the
you.
love. It's been great meeting you guys,
Absolutely.
and we'll continue this friendship.
Yeah, I would love to. Let's do some more stuff.
Love to anytime.
Colt, what do they need to do for us, kids?
Yes, we are available on all streaming platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like, rate, follow, subscribe.
Subscribe.
And now you can comment on
Comment.
Spotify.
Motherfucker.
So do all the things. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. All right, kids. See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.